So today's video is on the layers of blood vessels. So first we're going to look at our blood vessels. And blood vessels are the tubular structures that carry the blood around our body. And the types of blood vessels include arteries, and arteries transport oxygenated blood from the heart, arterioles, and arterioles control blood flow to the capillaries. So this is stuff like vasodilation and vasoconstriction. Capillaries, and this is where the diffusion of gases take place. So when oxygen diffuses into our cells and carbon dioxide out of. And just want to point out now that the layers that we're discussing in this video, not all of them are included in capillaries. Then we have venules, and these take the deoxygenated blood from the capillaries to the veins. And then lastly, we have our veins, which take the deoxygenated blood back to the heart, and the cycle starts again. So the first layer is the outer layer, and this is a tough fibrous outer layer, and it can be called the tunica externa, which translates to outer coat. And this tough fibrous outer layer is there to resist the changes in pressure inside and outside of the blood vessel. So resisting this pressure makes sure that the blood vessels stay intact, they're not harmed, and the blood can flow easily. Then we have the middle layer, and this is our muscle and elastic layer of our vessels. And this can be called the tunica media, translating to middle coat. And you can, the importance of these layers is that the muscle layer is there to maintain the pressure, and this is done by muscle contractions. So by contracting the muscles, they're able to produce forces to maintain the pressure in the blood. The elastic layer is there to withstand and maintain these pressures by expanding and springing back. And arteries have the thickest tunica media, and this is because they are right next to the heart. The heart is pumping, so it needs loads of muscle layer to maintain this pressure, to get the rest of the pressure to the rest of the body, to be able to give the blood to the entire body. It has a large elastic layer because it has to withstand this massive pressure that the heart is pumping through the blood. And then we have the inner layer, and this is the endothelium. And this can also be called the tunica intima, which is inner coat. And this tunica intima, or endothelium, is a single layer of squamous epithelial cells, and this means squashed, really thin epithelial cells. And this endothelium is really smooth to reduce the friction when the blood flows through, and it is very thin to reduce the diffusion pathway, and if we refer back to Fick's law, this means a faster rate of diffusion. And pointing out here, capillaries are just a single layer of endothelial cells. So capillaries are purely made up of this tunica intima, this endothelium layer. And then lastly, we have the lumen. And the lumen is this central cavity where the blood flows through. So it's this hole where the blood can flow. And the size of the lumen varies with each blood vessel, as does the rest of the layers of the blood vessel. But the size of the lumen, the largest lumen is within the veins, and this is because they don't need a small lumen to maintain pressure. They just want to get all this blood back to the heart. Then it's the arteries, which have a relatively small lumen because they want to maintain the pressure that they have from the heart. And then we have the capillaries, and the capillaries have the smallest lumen. It is one single blood cell thick, and this is because they want to squish all of the red blood cells up against the sides of the capillaries to maximize the amount of diffusion.